At the end of last week, I brought you a video called The MSM Are Finished, the mainstream media. So I, for one, I'm getting cheesed off with everyone that's got a problem being labelled as far right. It's not right. 120,000 people, more or less, watched that. It absolutely exploded. And that tells me one thing, and one thing only. It's a subject people care about very much. And as a result of that, I wanted to go through some of your comments. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming once again. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with what happens here. It's good to see you. Well, last week did this video about, well, what happened in Dublin and the mainstream media's actual, coverage of it. And several outlets once again use the term far right. I don't know about you, but I'm getting pissed off with it because every time the populace stands up and does something to stick up for what they believe, they're far right. It's disgusting. It's an establishment slur. It needs to stop. And I wanted to go through some of your opinions and your thoughts and see what you had to say. So I'll put the comments up and we'll have a look and see what you've got. Okay. So Hugh Jampton, 1561. Diversity is our strength. Yeah, right. Well done, the Irish people. The majority of the English are with you. Yeah, I mean, eventually when, you get the situation that we're in, people are going to kick off in the end. And it happens. Stephen Martin, if standing up for the most vulnerable people, women and children, is far right, then I'm happy to say I'm far right. You and many others. Ian, the police announced this is not a terror attack. I'm sure the victims were terrified. I hope they'll all recover from their injuries. Oh, there's children involved as well, wasn't there? That's what really sickened everybody, I think. Morris, 8398, it's disgusting. Government letting all these murderers into our country. We've got no control over any of it, have we, really? And it's becoming more and more apparent. Phil Drabble, the chief commissioner who labelled the rioters far right, has lost any right to police that community. Same goes to the political administrators who appointed him. Now, this is a fair comment, actually. And, in the original video, I did refer to the media saying far right, but there's a few people that have commented saying it was the police commissioner saying far right, and the media obviously picked up on it. But in my view, the two chicks are the same arse, basically. They're all saying far right. And there's a few replies there. Moondust, love the name. Far right has changed its meaning. It now means people with common sense and intelligence who want to save their home. Couldn't agree more. Michael Holmes, the Irish PM, said that they brought shame on the Irish. I say he brought shame on the country, letting them all in. Fish shooting. The Irish Prime Minister should face charges. Guilty by association. He's the reason that this was made possible to happen. At the end of the day, this is people's feelings, perceptions, and opinions based on what they saw. Leonard Gibney. As soon as I heard far right, I thought, do they take us all for fools? I immediately knew when we were what we were dealing with. It seems being far right is reacting angrily to violent criminal activity by you-know-who. Loffield Veiling. How bad does it have to get before the media realise that normal people have just had enough? You have to wonder, don't you? I'm an English Catholic patriot. If I'm deemed far right for upholding Christian British values, and so be it. I'm so proud the Irish made a stand against what was happening to these little ones and the adult who tried to protect them. It needs to be made illegal in Western nations. Everything pulled down and the benefits stopped. If the Western governments don't, then we the patriots will. Long live the King, our beloved. Well, similar has happened overseas, hasn't it? And that's all over the news. Jamie Connor, my hometown in the far north of England, had its first confirmed incident a few weeks ago, actually reported on the BBC. I didn't expect that. Our problem is, why weren't we told that, the illegals coming for asylum were being shipped and housed in our town? Even our MP has had enough. The Harringtons, rest of the country, need to sit up and take note of how the Irish deal with things. They don't take any crap, do they? Gus Smile, no longer concerned being labelled far right, like all the ists thrown at anyone. Yeah, that's true. These words have been so misused, they're meaningless now. Well done, the Irish. Cheryl McNair, I'm disgusted but not surprised at the MSM. What did we do to gather so much disdain from them? Absolutely nothing, but work hard, look after our families, and be law-abiding. Absolutely. Liverpool pictorial. The community in Kirkby near Liverpool protested earlier this year about a young male pestering local youngsters. They were also labelled right-wing, despite the community being a huge Labour stronghold. It's just, words they pull out and they lose their meaning. Like the earlier comment, a lot of the ists. Oh, and I'm sick of the mainstream media calling everyone normal, far right, or far right extremists. It is sickening. It's disgusting, isn't it? Colin Hooper, as you say, this far right label now seems to apply to anyone who doesn't want to fully integrate with people who want to come to this country but carry on with their own tight-knit insular way of living, abiding to their perception of what is acceptable to them. Growing up in northern working class community, think Coronation Street, but harder, in the 1960s, it was taken for granted that the community was self-policing. As a result, it was completely safe. Nobody locked their doors. Kids wandered unsupervised. I recall reports of a man, well, I'm not going to read it out loud, but doing something inappropriate in a local park. And this was dealt with very quickly without police or social worker involvement. Yes, I get the Dublin response totally. And I suspect as we lose faith in our police and lawmakers, then the local populations are going to do this more often, aren't they? I do believe they are. And I do believe maybe we're getting to a point where we have had enough. And it's just a symptom of a larger problem now. We see what was happening in the news last week. And, very quickly told, obey the law of the land, respect where you are. If you can't do that, get out. Is that going to happen here? I have to wonder. Let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe we can have a readout some more at some other point. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.